Hello, a good Erev Shabbos, my friends in Skokie. I am away this Shabbos, but I wanted to reach out especially, not just to give you a message in general, but because this has been such a difficult week for the Jewish people in Israel, specifically, and Jews all over the world. The devastating news, the pain of what happened with the 21 soldiers and the building collapse in Gaza and the other soldiers who lost their lives. This has been the most difficult, the most impossible week since the outbreak of the war on October 7th, and a week in which we're truly all mourning. And Klal Yisrael's broken, and so many people in our community are affected and personally involved with those who lost their lives. And I wanted to reflect on that feeling for just a moment. It does feel, especially now that things are bleak, and it would be only natural to question, is there any progress being made? Is this all worth it? What are we doing? Is there a plan? Does the Kadosh Baruch Hu have a plan? And I want to share with you a Torah on the Parsha that I think reflects on this idea. In Parshat Beshalach, we talk about, of course, the most famous event, the most earth-shattering event that is the culmination of the Yetzias Mitzrayim. That's when the Yam Suf splits open. And the Medrash tells us that back when Moshe Rabbeinu was a little after he's born, and his mother and his sister stood there to cast him into the Nile, into the river, as was the instruction of Paro and his officers. At that moment, the angels turned to God and they said, God, what's the plan? We thought this kid was supposed to be the one who's going to usher in the Yeshua, the salvation. We thought this would be the one who would bring the Jewish people out of servitude, who would be your servant, who would be your messenger. And look what's happening. He's being cast into the water like all the other babies. At that moment, the Kadosh Baruch Hu responded to the angels and said, don't you know that same day, the same date upon which this is happening, that he's going to be thrown into the water, is the same date on the calendar, that young man is going to grow up and he's going to place his staff into the water, and they're going to cross the Yam Suf, and they're going to go through and leave Mitzrayim with the Jewish people. Don't you know that it's the same child, the same person? What the angels didn't know was that from their vantage point, it looked like it was over. It looked like things couldn't get any worse. But that somehow that his passage into the water was not only just a step, but it was also somehow a step forward in some inexplicable way, some way they couldn't imagine it. The way it is with promises that Kadosh Baruch Hu has is we know they're going to come true, we just don't know how it's going to happen. And I think that I had an experience like this on a very small level this week. I was davening in a shul in Jacksonville, and this is a shul that many years ago, where I sort of got my foray, my feet wet in the rabbinate. We participated, a number of our students, Talmidim in YU, in a kollel program, a summer kollel in Jacksonville. And our goal was to bring chizuk, to bring strength, to bring a little bit of Torah to a community that had very little at the time. The rabbi at the time, as we were leaving, was standing there at the final mincha, and he looked like he was sort of beside himself, almost in tears. And I said to him, "What's wrong?" And he said to me that well, this has been a wonderful experience. All these guys bringing chizuk to our community, davening and learning with the community members, bringing such ruach, such spirit, and you're going to leave, and we're not even going to have a mincha minyan tomorrow. And I decided in that moment that I was going to go into the Rabbanos. I felt that this rabbi was doing something noble. This is something that I want to do. I want to try to bring chizuk to a community. I want to try to teach and to inspire and to bring that kind of spirit and energy. I was inspired by his moment, even the moment that almost looked like a little bit of despair. I was inspired to then give it, to pay it forward. Well, years later, I came back to this very shul. I'm davening, and the shul is actually full on a regular minyan during the week. And I see a yurtzeit plaque of one of the members of the shul who I had befriended at the time, 20-something years ago. And I realized that though there are people who have moved on, both different rabbis in that community and different members of the community, some who've passed on, some who've been born, the community is thriving. They have several minyanim a day. They have a kollel. They've got kosher establishments. And though it was impossible to see at that moment how it could have been, indeed, HaKadosh Baruch Hu had a plan. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu built Yiddishkeit up in a very special way, and hopefully it will continue to grow even more in more unimaginable ways that they can't see at this moment. And just as Hashem saw when that baby was being thrown into the water, that to all onlookers it looked like it was impossible, that there's no way the Jewish people could survive this moment. Hashem said, no, this is the same day and this is the same boy who will cross over the Yam Suf in the future and bring the Jewish people out into nationhood to receive their Torah and to enter their land. Just as this is a moment for Klal Yisrael, it looks like things couldn't get darker. I know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a plan. I know that He's going to do it. We just don't know how at this point, and we have to have emunah. There is that even when we have setbacks, even when we have difficulty, that there will be a tomorrow, there will be a greater day. It will come. B'ezrat Hashem, we should see it. We should not just believe in it, but we should see it happen very soon in our days. Shabbat Shalom. I look forward to seeing you each very soon back in Skokie.